In this video we're going to have a look at how to find the equation of a line that has been given to us. So I've got four lines here. Let's have a look at the first one, the blue one. So the blue line, you can see, has a positive gradient. So that's the first thing to realize. We can also identify the y-intercept, which is here. So the y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So it crosses the y-axis at 2. When we're thinking about how to work out the equation of a line, we need to look at the general form for the equation of a line, and it is written like this. So y equals mx plus c. Y and x are our x and y values. M is the gradient. So as long as the equation is written in this form, whatever number is in front of the x, that will be the gradient of the line. Then this c, sort of tagged on the end here, that is a constant, and that will always be a number. So it could be a whole number, it could be a decimal, it could be a fraction. That number is the y-intercept. So two things we need to find from the line: gradient and the y-intercept. So if we're just thinking about that blue line, we know that the y-intercept is equal to 2. The gradient, we're going to use the change in y over change in x, and we want to identify 2 points on this line, so 2 definite points. So let's use the y-intercept. So that coordinate is 0, 2. So remember, coordinate, first value in the brackets is how far we go across, either to the left or to the right. In this case, that actual point there, we're not going across at all. So we're not going to the left or to the right, so we say that our x value is 0. Our y value is 2, which means we go up 2 units on the y-axis. Let's use this point here. So that point is, we're going to the right 6 units, and then we're going up 4 units. So when we work out the gradient, we're doing rise over run, so how much we rise over how much we run, or that is in terms of the line. And you can, if you want to, just draw a triangle like that, so you can see that the change in y, so that will be the rise, or the change in y is that distance there, and then this distance will be the run, the change in the horizontal. And we're going to use the coordinates. So the change in y will be, if I use this coordinate first, 4 minus 2, so we're finding the difference between those two y values, divided by 6 minus 0. Okay, so we're finding the difference between our x values, so our x values, and that goes on the bottom. So 4 minus 2 is 2, 6 minus 0 is 6. So 2/6 is our gradient, which simplifies to 1 over 3, or 1/3. So now, if I just rewrite the general form of the equation for a line, and then just substitute in my gradient. So my gradient is 1 over 3, so m is 1/3. Write x, and then the y-intercept is 2, so plus 2. So that is the equation for that blue line. Y equals 1 over 3 x plus 2. Let's have a look at this pink line now. So you can see with that pink line, it has a negative gradient because it's going downhill. So our gradient will be negative. We can see that our y-intercept is -3. So let's work out the gradient now. If we find a couple of definite points, so maybe that point there, that coordinate is -3, so I'm going back -3, and I'm going back 3 spots and then up 3. And then if I use my y-intercept, so that coordinate there is 0, negative 3. Okay, so if I'm calculating the gradient, that pink line, so I'm going to do my y values first. So that 3 minus negative 3, so that's a change in y, divided by negative 3 minus 0. Okay, so the change in y divided by the change in x, and you're finding the difference between those values. So 3 minus negative 3 is the same as 3 plus 3, divided by negative 3 minus 0, just gives me negative 3. So I get 6 divided by negative 3, which is equal to negative 2. So that is correct in that I would have a negative sign there to indicate that the gradient is negative. Y-intercept. Okay, so y-intercept is here, where that line crosses the y-axis, and that is equal to negative 3. And if I were to write the equation, y is equal to negative 2x plus negative 3. Okay, so gradient is negative 2, y-intercept is negative 3, and I can just rewrite that like this. Negative 2x plus negative 3 is the same as minus 3. So that would be the equation for that pink line. The other two types of lines are when we've got a vertical line, so like this one here. Just grab a different color. Okay, so this line here is a vertical line, and vertical lines have the equations x equals some number, and that number is the number where that vertical line crosses the x-axis. So in this case, 8. So when x is equal to 8, that is the equation for a vertical line. If we have a horizontal line, so such as what we have here, horizontal lines have the equations y equals some number. So wherever that horizontal line crosses the y-axis, that will be the number that goes here. So you can see that orange line crosses or intersects the y-axis at negative 5. So the equation for that line will just be y equals negative 5.